I'm so happy, Guan Xiao, to be here with you. So excited about this exhibition. It's your first exhibition in Austria, I think, your first solo exhibition. And all the works are new works, which is really exciting, I think. And the exhibition is titled Teenager. So I want to start with this title and the question, what is a teenager for you? I think it's on.
Hello. It's like, in Asia, so usually we kind of like admire the very young, beautiful things. For example, like in Japan, you can get married in 16, so young. So we think it's such a beautiful thing to do. But also it's like today in all these social media things, we get worried about our outlooking so much like than before. Everybody like pursuing to be younger. So I started thinking like, what's this exactly the young means to me at least. So I try to understanding what's going on when we're young. So that's everything started when thinking about the teenager. It's because when you're a teenager, you feel like you believe in every miracle, like legendary things. You are like you think everything could happen, But meanwhile, you are like adopt everything, like you don't believe, like fuck it, you don't want to trust it. And teenagers, like you want to build up all the link from the outside world. You want to try to make the friend to everyone, trying to build up the connection. But meanwhile, you're like so isolated. You want to shut yourself down, hiding in some like a private space. But also, as a teenager, you feel you're so kind. No matter how bad you look at the outside, actually you're so kind. But it could be, at the same time, could be so grumpy. You just hate a lot of things. So I'm thinking, okay, that's usually we think a teenager, we call it unstable. But I think it happens all the way. I mean, all the time. It's like combined with us from, 16 and then maybe to 40, 80. It's like even I'm like getting old, like, suffering from my body, Like, all this, I worried about outlooking, of course, but still I feel so young, I feel my inside could be powerful. So I think why we should choose like to be mature or like a teenager, no, not mature. I think the beautiful thing is in between. The beautiful thing is because of changing, because of the possibility to change. Mm-hmm. So that's why I'm thinking about this topic. It's because I think it's so related to what I'm doing all the time. I try to balance to very conflicted way, like the bad and the good and the modern things and the antique, like the very ancient things, like all this long history about the past and the future. I always think about this kind of a topic. So
yeah, so the teenager is almost a figure for transformation in a way.
I think
right?
so.
And for the anxiety, but also the desire that's in this moment. And what is so beautiful about this metaphor is that we all know this moment of coming of age, right? It's something that all humans share in a way. We all have this experience and we lived through like a transformational change.
It's very beautiful.
When you start working on a new body of work or a new piece, how do you approach it? Do you start with an idea, like the teenager, or do you start with a material?
I think it's always started with material, because to me, I think all the concepts, all the text, of course, I'm a visual artist, I took myself as, but text is like you have to talk. I mean, but as an artist, it's like what I have done is done. It's like, it's all there. But eventually, you have to talk. You have to build up the connection with the audience. But at the very beginning, everything started with, always started about the structure, the shape, the form, because I'm quite fun with this tree root. Let's say it's a awkward material in China, because it's like a generation thing. It's like a very how to say. It's had a long story. When back in days, every like a fortune family, we will choose such a material, something it's very special, unique shape, and we'll put it inside. Sometimes it's as a decoration on the shelf, but sometimes it's as a stool, or like a table, or sometimes maybe I don't know, all kind of little things. So since we are very young, so we keep seeing this kind of thing, and we feel it's kind of ugly. It's like it's too heavy, it's too much history things. We don't want it. So when I started to thinking, maybe I should use this material, it's kind of struggling. But meanwhile, I feel this material is quite, it's abstract itself. It's quite interesting material. It's a very drama, it's very strong, but it's quite interesting. So I started thinking, how should I use it? But sometimes the process is really like I was fighting with something. It's not like sometimes go with it, but sometimes you really need to fight because this material is too strong. You have to fight. So I considering my working is this. So I think that's everything starts. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it's like a dialogue with the material in a way, but also with the things that surround you, objects that catch your attention maybe, but then there's a moment of transformation almost always. I think now here we have a picture of one of these tree root sculptures, and you can see that they don't necessarily resemble a tree, obviously because also they're roots, but maybe you can share a little bit about this idea of transformation.
Because as a tree, I think basically it's very much like a records of a life. A whole life of a tree is just there. It's just you can analyze it. It's just there. You can see something happened to it. Sometimes the tree looks like the body. It looks like an open chest. It's like a leg, an arm. It's just a creature. So I started thinking, why should I go flow with this material, especially at this show? I was thinking because sometimes I want to deliver to be easier, to be not that complicated. So I decided, okay, I want to do something exactly can make people think about creatures. For example, like a snail, and for example, it's like some football player. But obviously, I don't want to give a name like a bird or like a soccer or I don't know, something directly. I try to play again. For example, the sculpture, like a soccer, it's like a football player. I give a name called a vibra grass. So it's like a vibration, and it's grass. I think that's kind of build up some beautiful things that you can put your imagine in. It's kind of like an invitation for let the audience join your work, join the whole build, the construction of feeling. And I also think it's normal. It's like when you look at something strange, they're never. Your feeling never came alone. They're always, it's very complicated. Yeah, I don't know.
I like what I see where you're going. I like very much how I think on the Kunsthalle website they praise your wild imagination, or they say it's wildly inventive, the work. So you're inventing connections or relations, maybe not so different to a teenager who's also negotiating new relation with the world. Mm-hmm. You're creating relations where we wouldn't have seen a relation beforehand. For example, the tree being a time capsule, that tells the story about the wind that shaped the tree, for example, or whether there was water or not. So then the root would be shaped differently. So I wonder if you can share a bit about, this kind of inventive moments or the chain of associations that you're making when you compose the works? Because essentially you bring together so many different elements when you shape these figures.
I think the process is like when we're talking like one by one, but the real situation is we might sitting in a restaurant and there are other people around us. They are talking there. There are camera there, and we have this red light, and we have this beautiful building. Things never come along. Mm-hmm. So I just try, because I think this is very important. This is how I feel the world, how I try to connection with the outside. So I think I just try to bring people, inside this kind of feelings. Sometimes it's included the sound, sometimes it's included the smell. I think it's beautiful. I think complicated sometimes could be really beautiful. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I like this idea very much that nothing exists in a vacuum.
Yeah, nothing.
Our perception is so much guided by our surrounding in that very moment, and then that also determines how we see things.
Exactly. Never. I mean, I believe that we never should let ourselves to put like a simple judgment. Mm-hmm. You really need to leave something there. You don't say too much. Like you always save something for the possibility of change. Yeah. That could be really nice.
I very much love, or I remember you once asked me when we were talking about your work, you said, how can you be sure that you see only one thing? And I love that very much, because actually I felt really caught. Because obviously I always think that I know this is a chair, this is an egg or whatever. But in fact I cannot be sure.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a Buddhism, I have to say. So I always remember there's a teaching of Buddha, like a water, There's a water. For our human being, it's a water. It's something we can drink. But for fish, it's the air. It's some place they can live. And also, they believe to Diva. There is something that's, how to say, like a spiritual medicine, something like that. And also for Buddha, it's light. Mm-hmm. It's lighting. So I think it's quite beautiful, I think it's all about a different angle, different dimension. For example, like we will like all see like the whale in the ocean. When you see them, like you are in the ocean, you will see it's like a flying there. So I think everybody has that kind of experience.
Yeah, or also when you have a pet and you share a life with a dog or a cat, for example, and you know that they have a different vision, they smell different things, like, so they share a reality with you, but they also live in their own world at the same time. Yeah, exactly. So it's actually a very common experience in a way, like it makes so much sense. But I didn't kind of reflect on that before you pointed me to it. So it was so it was a real revelation in this moment. I'm thinking about these different worlds or the parallel existence of worlds. You also made a lot of videos, which are often triptychs, like 3-channel videos. Maybe does this have to do something with your approach to, let's say, the parallelity of things in the world?
Yeah, I think if we talk about my video, because my motive of making video is because I never shoot film. It's because I think for example, like a YouTube, like TikTok, people just upload every day, almost every second. There are like so many uploading, so many videos. It's just like I feel like sometimes I'm like sitting at the bottom of a dark sea, and it's all like covered by all this footage, these videos. But the people who upload it, they're barely looking back. Mm-hmm. They're just there, like flying around us. So I consider myself like a recycling business. So So I just, I just download all this footage, but re-editing it, I try to build up something more interesting.
Yeah, you're like a human filter in a way.
Yeah, it is. It's very cheap. You don't need to shoot. So, and also because it's like tripling screen. Because as I said earlier, it's like things never came alone. So I believe our sense, our feeling, it's complicated. Why we cannot just accept this complicated thing? Why we have to make things like a line? It's just, anti-human, basically, So I started to make this video like in 3 screen, and all screen. Sometimes, most of times it's different. Each screen playing different video, and I'm not saying just angle different. It's a completely different video in 3 screen. But I believe, anyway, but in my logic, I think they shared something similar. That's why I put them together. So I will usually, sometimes started by some very interesting combination. Sometimes it's because about explanation for time, at least in my time. But sometimes it becomes like a hilarious joke. Yeah. So that's the trigger. But after that, things just go flow. And when I finish all the editing, then I will start to write. Mm-hmm. Sometimes it's, sometimes I will have a specific, like a topic I want to talk, but most of the time I will fail if I have this specific topic. So most of the time, just go flow with it. But it's very good. Every time it works. Yeah, so I think that's a video, yeah.
Yeah, it's a very interesting approach to narration because it draws from what is already there, right? So it's more about directing our attention to the information that's kind of flowing around, as you were describing earlier. It's not so much adding a new strand of storyline, but it's really finding, like going into the granular level of information that's there and then picking out certain things and combining them.
It's really interesting. It's like you're shifting your focus point. Mm-hmm. It's a little bit like a video game, just shifting it, but the things is already there. They never change. They're just there, like continue running. But the only thing changes yourself. Mm-hmm. It's your focus point. You just change it.
I was actually curious about that because we spoke a lot about video games and about your love for especially like world exploration games, where you walk around in a synthetic world basically, and you can interact with different like also non-playable characters, mm-hmm. and then some are playable, and like it's really like a parallel world in which you dive in and then you explore this narrative, and depending on where you go and what you do, you will have a different outcome. How does this kind of inspire, or how does this influence the way you make, for example, videos or sculpture?
The influence could be different when you are like younger. The influence might be, your bedroom. The influence might be you listen to music in your bedroom, or you watch some like books. But when you're older, of course, we'll have the video game. But it's like when you play video game, you are inside a private space. Even it's open, but you are there. You're inside this some kind of space. For example, like I still remember the last show I have in Berlin, a gallery called Wake Up in a Season, in a Room Without Season. Wake Up in a Room Without Season. Yeah, I quite like that name. At the very first, I tried to name this show, the same name, but I think, no, I should do more. Anyway, but I love this name very much because I think in your spiritual world, or in your, video world, time is like that. The time actually is changed because the time is changes because you see it. You see the leaves falls down. You see, the snowing, or you have this kind of thing. I think visual is quite important. And when you play a video game, it's like you see the light changing, the location changing, but actually there's no time. There's no exactly the time there.
It's also the trick. You spend so much time there because the time is suspended, right? You forget your body, basically.
Exactly, yeah.
You forget that you're hungry. You forget you're sitting like this.
You feel like you pretty much you don't need them like spiritually, but yeah. I'm kind of lost. Sorry.
No, but it's
when we are talking.
Yeah, I think about the world exploration in video games and how it influences your work, or the way you see the world or you approach the world, right? But I think you did, I mean, share some in some way.
Okay.
And I think what interests me in you know, your kind of incorporating the way we move through video games into the way we also, you know,
spiritual.
Move, yes,
yeah,
yeah, I think so. I think the way we move through the world as well, and that kind of brings in the reflection about our, you know, increasingly digitalized, technologized environment. Without necessarily making it a topic of the work, but it's somehow present in a way. You said earlier also that you connect kind of very futuristic and like more ancient aesthetics. So I wonder, yeah, if you can speak a little bit about this and how these worlds kind of come together. Do you understand? No, I can try to rephrase. Or do you want to?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so you're asking like how everything like very ancient things, how to relate it to our modern life? I actually not. I think. I mean. I don't know. Sometimes because I'm like a visual artist, so sometimes it's go visualizing. You know, for example, like the handle I always use in my sculpture. It's a motorcycle handle, but I think it's pretty much like a weapon, because sometimes it looks like an arrow. You know, you're a soldier, you can arrow like something like that, and sometimes I think it's like a sword. And sometimes, like the pedal of the motorcycle, I feel it's much more looks like a bird. Basically, I'm a crazy man for all this Amazon, you know, Alibaba things. I did a lot. I was like you know, watching them all the time. All these products, I try to like, you know, as a woman, we like shopping, but why I'm, you know, shopping something interesting. So I love to see all these different elements, the story different. I can tell different story of them. I love that. I love to tell the different, give them different story. So after I doing this, I find out the interesting shape. So I started to work in this shape with my sculpture. Yes, it's just like that. So I think. I don't know, for example, like there's some sculpture of me before. I use this necklace. Actually, it's a very ancient, like a Rome, like a necklace. But I feel it's really like this kind of medical examining machine, you know, the CT machine for the scanning your body, this kind of round. I think it's definitely, I mean, this shares a very similar shape. It's a very industrial feel, but actually it came like so many years ago. I think it's quite minimalism and it's quite beautiful. So I started to use this kind of, you know, elements. So yeah, it's just like that. Yeah.
It's interesting the way you describe the shopping experience of choosing different elements, you know, and then in the work they become symbols. Maybe the handles from the motorcycle, they become a symbol for I don't know, progress or speed or anything that we kind of project onto it, right?
Yeah.
So kind of where I was thinking from when I asked this question earlier was the way you dress an avatar in a video game, right? You choose a certain helmet or like a weapon, and then they become part of this figure.
I do, sorry to
no worries.
interrupt, because I do think the reason why you choose this kind of thing is in your memory, but I believe this kind of memory actually is like it happens like a long time ago. You know it. You have this connection with it, maybe not in here, but some way in the very, very back in days, like a very long time ago. So I think the memory never, or the habit, it's never just happened right now. It's like a really long time, like memories. You just remembered it, you know. It's like suddenly by some trigger, some object, and then you remembered it. But it's there, it's a long time ago in your memory. Yeah, I just love that feeling. Yeah.
Beautiful. That's in you.
Yeah.
There's one element we haven't really spoken about yet, which is quite important for your exhibition. And it's quite different, I would say, to the video works and to the sculptures. And this is the series of paintings.
Oh, yeah.
But I do, obviously it's your work, so there's like a similar, let's say, resonance, I would say, or way of approaching the materials. Maybe you can describe a little bit how this process is different also, for example, to what you described about making the videos or assembling the sculptures.
Okay. At the very first, like many years ago, I had my first solo show in my Chinese gallery, antenna space. I started to make this round palette, like artist palette painting. The reason why I started to make it is because, you know, as a sculpture artist, if you once start to make a painting, oh my God, I feel so guilty. You know, everybody will say, oh, you so commercial, you know, like that. I feel so guilty, but I want to have a painting. I want to make some painting. So I started to think, I'm not a painter, so I paint, so what? So I painting like around the palette. That's everything started. But you know, later, so when I start to paint, because I'm a sculpture artist, so I redo the surface. At the very first, I just doing it very, very simple way. It looks like a skin, like a snake, nail, like a snake nail or fish nail. So it's like a skin. Yeah. So I think it's really beautiful. So it's kind of like I redo the surface of a painting. So that's everything started. And later, because I want to do a little bit more, so I just started to paint on this kind of round painting. At the first, I choose this image, which is butterflies' wings, because personally, I'm quite into this impression style. So I think the spot is very important, because anyway. So I started to use this butterfly image, because butterfly actually, their nail, their skin, it's like a very round, kind of like a pixel, you know, it's like a little round. So that's later, but when I'm doing this more and more, I quite like this accidentally dropping, you know, this more expression way, you know, for this painting. So I started to think, oh, I want to make it a little bit bigger. So this time I have this tripling painting. This image original came from about some plants, like a flower or something, but I zoomed it very big, like I really zoomed it in. So it became like a map or landscape. But the landscape, you can also take it like as a skin of our earth, you know. So I started to redo the surface, but this time I tried more. Like at the first, I would do the sketches with black and white. I would try to replace all this content of this image into different shape. Sometimes it's a square, but sometimes it's a slim line, or sometimes it's a round. I think it's quite interesting. It's like a sculpture. It's like you try to give some object a new texture. So then after the sketches, so I started to decide the color. So I started to paint in the color sketch because I don't want to have too many colors there because I don't want to, drawing something like specifically. I want to the more not drawing, just not figuring something. So I started to decide that maybe only 5 or 6 color. And at the last, I was using this molding paste to redo the surface with tools, but not brush, So yeah, that's and also when I paint, I will turn the board like this. It's not like yeah. So because I want to all this dripping drops, it's like when you turn it up, it will like in the horizontal line. Because it's like you are driving. So all the raindrop gonna go back, right? So the painting a little bit like moving, right? So you can see all the tracks there. So I think it's quite interesting.
Yeah. Well, thank you for this. I really love. I think we should remember this when we go into the exhibition in a minute. The paintings are not abstract. They're actually very, very, very concrete. It's just that they're so concrete we cannot even perceive it as with our human perception. And what you just described about the rain that's kind of like, being moved in the car's window, I think this is such a beautiful image that you're creating. And this is going to be my last question. So then after that we open to the audience. You give very elusive titles to the sculptures. They often have longer, almost very poetic sort of sentences. Can you share a bit about the idea behind giving them such kind of long and important titles?
It's because as I said before, as a visual artist, actually I don't need to give a name. I don't need to write down the text. The object is already there. So why I bother to talk? Why we bother to write it down? So I started thinking, what exactly the text means to me. So I started thinking, okay, it's like a puzzle game, right? We provide some a clue, and we invited the audience to smell a little bit the taste. Then you can start to build up your own idea about this sculpture. So that's everything started. And also in this show, we have 2 a little bit different sculpture with this ribbon, jumping. Because this is my first time, it's a very new to me. So I specially prepared 2 story for them. That's my personal thing.
Oh my God, are you going to tell the stories?
Just a little one, okay. There are 2 figures actually there. One is more, to me, it's more like a girl. Another is more like a boy, like a female and a male. So for the girl one, I called it the midnight pancake. So it's basically it's okay, we girls, we love to take care of our skin. We always said, okay, tonight I need to get up very early. I shut down all the lights and I just peacefully, comfortably laying on my bed. I waiting to sleep. But unfortunately, we couldn't, right? I couldn't sleep. And then, usually by this time, 10 or something like that, you will hear the dog is barking there, the children doesn't want to sleep, the mama yelling after it, and all the motorcycle, all the same drunkers. But nothing happened in that night. Everything is so quiet. So she just a little bit bored, waiting, but can't falling to sleep. She's waiting. So there's some sound from very far away, and it's coming. So the sound is tick. The sound just gone. It feels like the road is just swallowed this guy in. But at the same time, this girl falling into sleep. It's just it's a rabbit hole.
Yeah.
You're falling into sleep, but you falling, but you somehow you wake up at the other side. So the other side is like in a night, the moon is shining, and she's just sitting in front of the table, and there are steamy pancake, just the steaming is there. So that's the end.
Amazing. Yeah, you should clap. I think
we should see the sculpture. Or the people should see the sculpture.
Yes. Yeah, we should go and see the sculpture. Before we do that, does anyone have a question to Guan Xiao?
No questions.
Oh, good.
No.
We didn't explain everything. So if there's questions coming up later, maybe you can chat. Oh, there's one.
Okay.
Should I just...
Okay. Thank you. A very short question. Since you mentioned very often body materiality, and just curious, how is the expression of the time in your creation?
Oh.
Is my question. Thank you.
Yeah, because for me, I think time is pretty much like, especially, I mean, in this show, I think time is like a closing loop of life. When you birth, get a birth, and you die. It's like a loop, So basically, the time that we experience is all about, we have a start and we have an end, and we call it the time. It's all about give a birth and a die. It's all about something started and something gone. So I think that's a time to me. Yeah.
In the sculptures.
Thank you.
Some more? No?
Okay. Great. Thank you so much for coming. We should also mention that on Friday, you will screen some of your videos here.
Yeah.
I think...
if you're interested, you can see.
Yeah, please come. Happy opening.
Yeah, happy opening. Thank you, everybody. Came very much.
Thank you so much, Michelle.